Those Days with the Monsters, Part 33. In the empty cargo bay, the doors stood open, allowing access to a clean and polished corridor that must be part of a station. Kirrel could hardly see it, however, as a large and rough-looking machine was being brought carefully through those doors, and obscuring most of what was beyond them.
"Is this Ironshoes?"
he whispered to Alex, who nodded. This machine looked a bit ugly, but otherwise it seemed somewhat normal. This was meant to ruin planets? Yeah, if we want to use it, we'll have to spend some time out here charging it though. It takes a lot of energy to fill a canister. Alex gestured to the metal canisters lining the walls, all of them coming to an unbelievably sharp point. Ironshoes can collect from anywhere, but a hot blue star like Sirius is an efficient place to do it. If we stuck around at the ship's limit, we could probably fill all of these in a few weeks. Alex's face went still and serious. Kirrel looked away to make his translator stop talking about emotion read errors. He didn't need a translator for that face. Now that we want to, it'd be best to win without ever having a fire. Kirrel nodded slowly.
Was it bad enough to need something like this?
The planet? After a moment, Alex nodded slowly. Yeah, it was. Sleepy asked for a therapist, and let me tell you, Sleepy doesn't ask for a therapist, ever. Alex's eyes filled with clear secretions, and she swiped at them with her left hand, the biological one. I was lucky. I was on Sector B. Got away without having to play Undertaker or S-Prev.
S-Prev?
Kirrel asked, despite knowing he probably didn't want to know. Ask later, it's not the time. Alex's face barely moved, but the expression had turned soft somehow. Kirrel found himself staring in fascination, ignoring the translator's repeating requests to try again, simply in awe of the mobile faces of the Cumans. Cold and angry could become gentle and sad at the slightest invisible changes. He began to wonder if life as a rollaway could have been any different if the Ylem could have these subtle changes. If anyone could read his expressions, instead of accepting that a rollaway always had a bit of blue around their frills. What are you thinking about? Alex's question was quiet. Kirrel realised that blue and silver had coated his frills.
Not much. Just thinking about old things.
Alex sighed. Well, alright. Just when you want to talk about it, let me know. I want to be here for you, you know? Kirrel wasn't sure what "here for you" was supposed to mean, but it didn't seem like a good time. His eyes spotted Sleepy across the bay, carefully inspecting the sharp-pointed canisters. They were nearly twice Sleepy's height, and 3 times wider than he was, but he didn't seem bothered by it. What Kirrel could see of his posture was oddly relaxed. Was that a Cuman thing, or... As Kirrel glanced around the cargo bay, he spotted small movements and slight changes in posture that he thought might mean something.
Is everyone else nervous?
You can see that now, huh? Alex looked out. Yeah, they don't like Ironshoes much either.
So, why is Sleepy so calm?
Alex's eyes widened slightly, and she abruptly looked away. I don't know for sure. Her voice sounded strained. Maybe it's because it's in his hands this time. He has more control over what it does. Kirrel took a moment to process this.
Does that mean he's in charge of when you fire it?
No one better to do it. Sleepy more than any of us understands what happens when you act recklessly with something dangerous. Of course, the captain also has a say. It's 2 yeses, 1 no on that. If either the captain or Sleepy say no, Ironshoes doesn't fire. Alex watched the machine being manoeuvred into place on the metal beams on the floor. I don't know if Sleepy should be here right now, though.
Why not?
He and the entire room seemed to freeze as the captain and Effie appeared in the doorway. It fits well. Grandpa did a good job. Effie nodded. It should fit your needs. Captain, be careful. The first people to drop a nuclear warhead had no idea what they'd unleashed. I know. Don't let... Effie broke off, her eyes pinned on one Cuman in particular. He wasn't moving at all. Effie? Oh. The captain turned his face towards Sleepy, who stood as if frozen in place. His voice sank to a murmur Kirrel could barely hear. Do you want to talk on the bridge instead? No, I don't think I do. Kirrel could see her hands clenching tightly. This needs to be done. And if I run away now, I'll never do it. She took a deep breath. The room seemed to freeze, waiting for her to speak. Charmer! It was almost a roar. Some of the crew instantly straightened and turned around, along with everyone Effie had brought with her. Across the bay, Sleepy had straightened up, but he kept his face to the wall as Effie walked across the room towards him. Are you not even going to look me in the eyes? She demanded, seeming to shake visibly. I don't have the right. Sleepy's voice was hoarse. You think I'll let you get away with that, you bloody bastard? Face me. Kirrel's frills turned a brilliant yellow with nervousness. She wasn't even looking at him and he was scared. Slowly, Sleepy turned around. His face had tracks where those clear secretions had run down his face. Listen to me, Charmer, because I've got a lot to say to you and I'll only do it once. Kirrel could hear Effie's breathing, as if the atmosphere was scraping her throat on the way in. I don't like seeing you, and I don't think I'll ever like seeing you. But you weren't the only perpetrator, and I wasn't the only victim. Sleepy seemed to be trying to look somewhere other than at Effie, but that white-haired figure was commanding all the attention in the room. No, I said look at me. Look me in my eyes, Charmer. I'm one woman. Do you think you'll be absolved if you can somehow make it better for me? You can't fix it. You can't make him come back home. Effie's voice softened slightly at the mention of this unknown person. I'm only one person, one casket, and you have to bear a lot of them. Getting my forgiveness only takes one away. Are you going to live your whole life trying to take them away one by one? If that's what it takes, yeah. Charmer, I can't stand the sight of you, and I don't think I ever will, but I can't let this be. I don't understand how you can't see it. Those warhounds had quite a few victims, you know. One of them was you. Now it was Effie's turn to look away, and after a short pause, she walked past the captain and out of the cargo bay. Kirrel heard a thud and looked over to see Sleepy, who was kneeling on the floor, his hands clenched tightly at his sides. Kirrel felt his frills pulsing red, and he glanced to his side.
Alex?
If you want me to talk to him, it's not a good time. He'll want to process that for a while. Cap, you might need to lock the back cabinet tonight. The captain nodded. This might be a good time for that, yeah. Thank you for listening to episode 33 of Those Days with the Monsters. Read by me, a good bean.